Afternoon everyone, Ragewood here, back with another Godforge video. And in today's Tuesday video from Fateless, Simon is breaking down the cinematic which shook the world last week. He does confirm a few things for us which we will dive into in a bit, but there is also a very, very important announcement which I will bring up, and something that you must do if you are interested in playing this game. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So the video starts with a little montage of all of the community reacting to the video. Now, there was a hint of this in the CC Discord, and Lady H told me she was eating chocolate, not making this. I'm onto you, Rachel. Anyway, so we'll watch that quickly, and then we'll jump into the little tidbits that Simon does reveal to us. Pretty mad stats, actually, when you look at it. And these are the kind of stats that I hope to achieve on this YouTube channel eventually. We're not quite there yet, but you know, we will at some point. And the Discord members and everything, the activity in that night was incredible.
I have goosebumps.
Looking pretty powerful. Tapiosenka tutaj.
Wow! Are you serious? Foda, né, galera?
Nice. Man, when that beat drops.
She's about to fuck him up, bro.
Yes, Godforge.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Ah, nice. Das sieht gut aus.
That looked really badass, guys. Wow, that was crazy.
Ależ ta jego zbroja doskonale wygląda.
I mean, I'm pumped. I'm so excited.
That is so crazy.
Dude, I am pumped. I am pumped.
So Simon then goes on to talk about inspirations for it, pointing out particularly that the League of Legends Warriors played a part in this. They wanted that kind of vibe. Then goes to talk on about who was working on the project, Mike Berry, who did those League of Legends and Valorant cinematics, as well as Jerry O'Flaherty, who is an Emmy award-winning sort of producer, you know, did the Dragon across the League of Legends worlds. So yeah, lots of cool people involved in this project, some very big names, as well as Narwhal Studios, who did The Mandalorian, as well as The Avengers, and I think his name is Mike Austin, was on one of the podcasts earlier in the year, where he mentioned that he dressed up as Boba Fett, worked with, is it LucasArts? A massive dude, can't remember his name, but yeah, go check that one out as well. But a few things that sort of stuck out to me, which we're going to skip to now. So the first thing we're jumping to, Simon does confirm that this is in fact Ra. It was pretty obvious, but it's good to have that sort of clarity now. Now, I was having a good conversation with Darren, one of my YouTube subscribers and followers. Thank you for your continued support, my friend. I do appreciate you watching. But he told me to look at Ra in particular, and I did spot something, but not the other thing that he was thinking of, which he had to point out to me. And those were, you know, this model is missing the wings that we see in the game, and also something to point out. So he stabs his pole arm down into that poor Viking there on his right-hand side. And then as we skip into the cinematic, he actually pulls it up on his left. So there is some sort of continuity sort of discrepancies there. I suppose you can say, look, yeah, so he pulls it up on his left. He's definitely just planted it down on this side. So either he's had to do a 180 to then pull it back out and face Brunhild, or something else. And then the other thing that he does is here. As he Brunhild stabs him, all of a sudden it's back on his right hand side again. So, and upside down. Now, I don't want that to take away from the cinematic. I still very much enjoy it. It was a marvelous cinematic piece, but something just to point out that, yeah, Darren, thank you for bringing up. Now, something else to point out, something I did mention in my web articles that I do on my little website. Do go check them out, because I try to keep these videos short, whereas on those I can blab and do what I want. But Hlock did also mention it in his video. Okay, it's these 4 symbols behind here. I've got the Triskelion, which is associated with Celtic mythology, typically the Morrigan, the Vulcanut, which is a symbol of Odin, the Eye of Horus, and then the Son of Ishtar. Now, I didn't actually know it was the Son of Ishtar. Shout out to number 9, one of the moderators in the Fateless Discord, for discussing this through with me, and Hlock himself did bring it up. So this is very much like a centre of the world vibe. And yeah, this moment in this story is going to be pivotal for whatever the story in the game is.
So, obviously, our villain here in this, or our dude that's coming in to take things on, Gilgamesh.
So I just want to point out something that Simon said. He said our villain here, and then went back on his words to mention Gilgamesh. Now, I have long sort of theorised that this was Gilgamesh, and it's, again, nice to have some clarity. I can still guess after getting quite a few wrong recently, but we got this one right. But the fact he used the word villain to begin with, and the fact that Gilgamesh hesitates, okay? Now, in one of the epics of Gilgamesh, Ishtar punishes and sort of kills his friend Enkidu for hunting her heavenly bull. And then Gilgamesh goes on to sort of chase immortality, or look for it. So, is this the Fountain of Youth? Is this, could be. Definitely doesn't feel like the Holy Grail. But there are any number of things. Simon himself actually refers to it as sort of like an aether well, whatever that is. And he also mentions the Blackbird character, so we'll take a quick peek at that in a second. But yeah, interesting that Gilgamesh is potentially the villain in this story.
Powering his way through the ether well. And this shot, I think it was actually Ragewood who kind of called this out. This shot is just like a traditional, hold on a minute, the enemy now looks really insanely big.
Yeah, so I did call it out mainly from the parallax cutscenes that we saw last week before. So it was in their mood board, and Mike, who did that mood board, was like, we want this sort of larger-than-life triangle boss in the background with a smaller hero triangle shaped in the foreground. And Mike also worked on the cinematic trailer, so it just seemed perfect that this was, intentional to do it this way. But yeah, thank you for the call out. So towards the end here, Simon does touch base on sort of how much this sort of cost. Approximately sort of 3 to 4% of their sort of total budget for the game in general. Now, it doesn't sort of tell us exactly what that was spent, but in a previous video, we do sort of hear, or maybe it was just through my research, that some of these League of Legends sort of cinematics were up to £1 million a minute. Now, this is a minute and a half. So, you can bet it probably cost them between 500k and £1 million, which is a lot for a minute and a half. But before we get on to the last very important bit, I want to just take a quick look at the Black Crow. Now, Simon does describe them as a character in that, so it's quite specific. And I do mention that part of Gilgamesh's story is the death of his friend Enkidu, and that is where crows sort of tie in here. So, as you can see here, Gilgamesh himself doesn't have any crow-related abilities in his lore, but it is associated with Enkidu. Now, in the Epic of Gilgamesh, Enkidu himself is raised by animals, including crows. Now, again, part of that story is looking for sort of immortality, something like that. So perhaps that crow is one of the people who raised Enkidu, and perhaps that is sort of maybe not the fountain of youth, but the source of God's powers. And so in destroying it, he is hoping to release the curse or spell that is on Enkidu and causes him to perish. So I thought that was a cool little thing to throw in there. And yeah, perhaps explains where the crows come from.
Forge, and if you haven't signed up for the beta yet, you should do it now. Those sign-ups are going to be ending, like in a week or two.
That's right. Beta signups are going to be closing very soon. This is the thing that you absolutely must do now if you want to get involved. You know, Simon says a week or two in this video, but if we fly back to a collab that Simon did with Ash, animation.
To go ahead and sign
pretty
up,
much.
so-
We're probably going to close signups off around the 1st of April.
Around the 1st of April. Now, at the time of recording this, it is the 25th of March. Now, you know, my math's okay. It's not brilliant, but to me, that's less than a week. So, you know, as the title suggests, I know it's a little bit clickbaity, but you want to get the opportunity to get into the beta, you've got to be in it to get that chance. It's a bit like the lottery. You can't win the lottery if you do not buy a ticket in the first place. So make sure you visit fateless.gg. I will pull it up now. Here, fateless.gg. Click the giant yellow button and fill in the form. You will need to join the Discord, okay? And then the email you use in this form is how you will be contacted via any news to do with the beta. Now, quite a few people join Discord and say that it hasn't worked, that kind of thing. We do know that VPNs do not work. Make sure you have those turned off, okay? There are a couple of other things which are in a pinned comment. Again, I will just pull that up now. So this is a pinned post from the community manager, Susie. If you've already submitted, you might have accidentally double-clicked it. And possibly if you used the sort of hashtags that you used to have to put in your Discord name can also cause it to not work. Also, just a huge influx of traffic. The night that the cinematic came out, there was a huge volume of traffic coming to this form, causing it to crash. So also just give it a minute. You know, come back in 5-10 minutes if it's not working to do that. Check your junk as well and your spam just in case it goes in there. And that is it, folks. So that is it for me today. Thank you very much for watching. If you've stuck through to the end, take care, look after yourselves, work hard, but as always, play harder. And hopefully I will see you in the beta and another video soon. Cheers.